back. If you would please put your palms together for meditation reading. To study the Buddha way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to be actualized by myriad things. By Dogen Zenji, Japanese teacher, minister, philosopher, founder of Soto Zen. If you would please, join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. We tend to think that we are who we are by our own willpower, our own initiative, our own beauty or grace or whatever you want to call it. But, you know, it takes, as it says, it takes many myriads of things that help us to be who we are. You know, humans have two sides to them. One's the instinctive, it's called instinctive ego, and the other one is called acquired outer self. Instinctive ego. Take, for example, a newborn child. Can't talk, can't do anything, but when it gets hungry, or it's wet, or it's in pain, or it wants attention, first thing they do is they cry. They get fussy, they cry. And then once they are satisfied, they go back and calm down. That's our true self. Satisfying our ego. And once that's satisfied, then we let go. But then there's the other side, which is called the outer self ego. That's who we want everyone to see. How successful we are, by our material goods, by what we possess, or how we come off to each other. But either one, we don't do it on our own. Our outer self is being satisfied by our schooling, by the knowledge we gain, by our experiences. It can be it can be influenced by friends, family, and of course our parents and peers. So we have two sides to ourselves that deep down inside that you don't want anyone to see. That's that instinctive ego. That's where that anger and greed and ignorance builds up and builds up. But we've learned to calm it down. And we don't let other people see that. So we show them our outside or outer side ego. But let's say that outer side ego is dropped. Then our true selves comes out. There's frustration, so we go ahead and we deal with it in some way or another. Or anger roars its ugly head, and that's when we show who we truly are. I was with a friend of mine, and we were on a trip, and his family and I it was dark outside, and he was taking pictures of the exhibit we went to see. Well, he cut a portrait of me, and we couldn't use flash, so it just turned out to be a black portrait or silhouette. And he goes, "Look." I said, "Oh, my true self." Void, nothing, not even an ego of any sort. It was just blank. That was my true self. And so, and I thought about that picture and I went, true, I am. I'm blank. Because I'm still learning. I'm still trying to hear and listen. And not to build up that ego. So here I am sitting here recording a YouTube. Is that not a little bit of egotism? Self-centeredness, because I'm actually doing the talking? But I do it not for showing off, but to help to spread the Dharma, so that we can start understanding who we are, who I am, who you are, the true self. So, and sometimes there is a battle between our instinctive self and our outer self. That instinctive self wants to come out and wants to be heard and seen and listened to. But because what we've learned from our outer self, ego, we've learned to subdue it. We've learned to sometimes, I guess if you want to call it, rationalize our thinking. We don't want to come out being too boastful or too aggressive. So, we have to, if you really look at it, we should be looking at ourselves in humbleness, because we didn't make it out on our own. We should be showing gratitude for all the many, many people and adventures and experiences that were shared with us. So, yet, that understanding of both sides is very difficult for us to comprehend, because one side fights with the other side. But in all that time, there is always Namu Amida Butsu, Nembutsu, to help us to think, help us to give guidance and direction. And by hearing the Dharma and truly thinking about the Dharma, do we start to think who our true selves is. There is, as we're in search of knowing our true self, there is always the compassion and wisdom of the Buddha, always there, never abandoning us, and always accepting us, just as we are. Only when we open our eyes, listen with true ears, and learn with our mind, then that's where true listening and hearing and thinking comes in. Is to not think with our ego, with our outer self, ego, but maybe breaking down that self and going into distinctive ego, so that there's nothing there. There's not a me, there's not an I. There's just listening. There's only Dharma. And there's the compassion and wisdom of the Buddha surrounding us always. And we can be thankful and so grateful through our Namu Amida Butsu. So if you would, please put your palms together in Gassho. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Please like, share, and subscribe, for you will become a part of spreading the Dharma. Thank you very much.